Hello everyone and welcome to another video review from 3dgameman.com. I'm Rodney Reynolds and today I'm having a look at the Raidmax Monster 2 case. Now with a name like Monster, you'd figure that this is a full tower case, but it isn't. In fact, it's a spacious mid-tower case that looks pretty darn spectacular. You can install a ton of hardware on the inside, like for example, long video cards, long power supplies, readers, they include fans, you can install more, lots of drive options, and it comes with a window as well. It's not going to break the bank. The box really isn't anything spectacular, but it does have all the important information on it, and it's packaged well. Now the overall styling on this is quite nice. The lines are great. The build quality is not too bad, although it does look a little bit plasticky, and I think that's due to the unique plastic front panel and the plastic top panel. It's glossy, looks nice, but it will attract dust and fingerprints really easily. Now try to spot the 5¼ drive bay covers at the front. They are here. They've done a great job at disguising them. At the top, you've got two USB 3 ports, the audio jacks, LEDs for power and hard drive activity, as well as the reset button and power button. Now the front panel can be very easily removed by pulling at the bottom to reveal a dust filter, and they include one 140mm intake fan. Alternatively though, you can install up to two 140s or up to two 120mm fans as well. Here at the front, you can install up to a 360mm reader, but you will need to remove this top 5¼ drive bay cage. The left side panel has a nice large tinted window, but the right side panel is plain. Now at the top of the case, they don't include any fans, but optionally you can install up to two 120mm or up to two 140mm fans, and they also include a dust filter for them. Now when you look at these, what are you thinking? Handles, right? But with a fully loaded case, I would definitely not recommend lifting it with these. Okay, so moving right along, at the back of the case, at the very bottom is where you would install a standard ATX power supply. They include 7 ventilated expansion slots, and in order to install a card, you would first loosen this thumb screw and move it this way. Now this is a bit of a mystery since they have, a thumb screw here and a thumb screw on both side panels. They do not include thumb screws on the expansion slots. Here is where you would install the motherboard's I/O shield plate. They include a 140mm exhaust fan, but optionally you can install a 120mm fan. Now there's no question about it, this is a spacious mid-tower case, measuring in at 480 by 210 by 526mm. So there's going to be ample space to work and install hardware on the inside. You can fit mini ITX, micro ATX, and standard ATX form factor motherboards, and as you can see, there is a large hole on the motherboard tray for the cooler's retention plate, and as well plenty of space behind the motherboard tray to route all those cables. Now I'll talk about drives, 2.5" and 3.5" drives in just a minute when I get to the back of the motherboard tray or the right side of the case. Now as you can see, this is kind of like a shroud which hides the power supply and the drives and all those cables, so that will keep things neat and tidy. Now, as I mentioned previously, there are two 5¼ drive bays. They have a toolless design, but this drive cage can be completely removed, and that's good because it means fitting up to a 360mm reader at the front of the case, and there's certainly provision for that. Now, if you leave this drive cage in, you can have a reader that's up to 280mm in length. Now let's talk video card length. I'll get to power supply length when I get to the right side of the case, but you can fit a video card that is up to 400mm in length, and it will fit a cooler that is up to 180mm in height. Now take a look at the fan leads. They are flat and flexible, plus they come with a Molex and 3-pin connector. Now while you can install up to a 360mm reader at the front and a 120mm reader at the back, there's really nothing in their documentation about installing a rad at the top of the case, and I think the reason for that is there isn't enough space here to do it. I think it would hit in some places. Now, in order to remove the top panel, you'll first need to take off the front panel and then slide the top panel forwards like so. Then you've got easy access to the magnetic dust filter, and as well it allows you to install, again, either up to 2 120mm or up to 2 140mm fans. Now they do include a user's manual along with cable ties and screws to install the hardware. Now there's lots going on at the right side of the case. On the motherboard tray you've got plenty of punch outs for organizing cables. Again, this large hole for the cooler's retention plate, a hole right here for tucking those cables through. Now what about drives? Well, you can fit up to 4 2.5-inch drives, 2 here on these brackets, which you can remove by taking off a single thumb screw, and 2 more here. You can install 2 3.5-inch drives on these. Alternatively, you can install 1 3.5-inch drive at the bottom of the case. Now, power supply length will vary. It depends on whether you have this drive cage installed or not. If you have it installed, you can fit a power supply that is up to 180 millimeters in length. Otherwise, one that is up to 240 millimeters in length. At the bottom, there are 4 rubber feet. Although they are pretty close together, they are not the full width of the case. It could make the case a little bit unstable, if you hit it from either side. As well, at the bottom, they include a removable power supply dust filter. So how's this case in comparison to a lot of others that are on the market? I mean, it is a sub $100 case that looks pretty darn sharp, although all of this glossy plastic kind of takes it away a little bit for me, but you can fit lots of hardware on the inside. So the case, in fact, is affordable and has pretty much all the features that anyone would need. Even if you're thinking about water cooling, this would definitely be a case that you could use. Overall, it is a kick-ass product. Until next time, take care. Well, that's it, but I hope you enjoyed the review, and if you think this and other videos that I produce are great, please like them, share, and subscribe to the channel. Also, your comments are very welcome, and if you have any questions, let me know.